Hi everyone, Robyn here from Gardening with Mama Bird. It's super hot in here in Northern California, and looking at the long-term forecast, it doesn't look like there's any relief in sight. So I thought I'd bring some pots inside to plant up where the temperatures are much cooler and enjoyable to be able to do some gardening. So let's get started and I'll show you what I have. So this first planter or pot that I want to plant up, it's going to be placed on my patio where it gets a little bit more sun. Different times of the day, it might get a little bit of shade from some shadows from some trees or things. So mostly when I was out shopping for plants for this pot, I looked for things that could tolerate much more sun. Maybe not full sun, but more sun. So I started off with this tall plant. It's a penta, and it's kind of a violet pink tone. It's going to be my higher or thriller plant. And then I picked up a geranium, which it's a trailing geranium, and it has these really pretty pale pink flowers on it. I do need to do a little bit of deadheading on here to spruce it up a little bit, so I'll be doing that. Some other things that I picked up to go inside this planter as possibilities is Dusty Miller, which has a really pretty blue silver color tone to it, and the texture I really like. Something that falls in the same color tones, but also an option, is some Dichondra Silver Falls. I also added in as an option some lamb's ear. These are super fun to grow, and later when it outgrows this pot, I would then put it out into the landscape. And then for some color, I picked up this Scavola or Scaviola, which is a blue violet and an annual in my area. This also will grow up a little bit, but also spill over. But I just thought the pinks and purples are one of my favorite color tones to put together. So this is definitely going to go in the pot with the others as options. So let's get started. Okay, so I've already filled the bottom of the container with some potting soil. It is a little bit less expensive potting soil, but one thing that kind of bugs me about it is the slivers that I get in my fingers. So I put that towards the bottom, and then I'm going to use this brand, which I really like, to top it off on the top with it's a little bit more pricey, but I really do enjoy working with this soil in my pots. So I'm going to add a little bit of that to bring the level of the soil up to a reasonable height to make it work for the plants. And I'm going to add in some fertilizer. I think that'll do it. Maybe just a scoop more. Oh boy, look what we have. A friend here. Come here, little guy. Come here. So he must have been on one of the plants. Whoops. Ah, come on. I got to catch this guy. Can you see him over here on the container? And put him back outside so he lives. Ah, okay. Come here, guy. Okay, he's outside in a safe place. Hopefully I didn't bring any more friends in with the plants that I've chose to pot up today. So let's put in some fertilizer down in the bottom. This is an all-purpose fertilizer, which doesn't burn the plants. This is going to be the plant that I use as the backdrop. So I'm going to place it towards the back and place some soil around it. Now I want to add in the trailing geranium. All of the pots have been watered prior to building this planter, so they have quite a bit of moisture in them, which is good to start off with in this heat that we're going through, this heat wave, because everything dries out so quickly. Next to that, I think I want to put the purple Scaviola. So we'll get that out of the container. it has more roots on it at the bottom, so I'm going to loosen those up just a tad bit before putting it down in the pot. But I just thought the purple intertwined with this pink would be so pretty. I think I'll turn this one a little bit. Turn the ivy and then work this one in there and put that a little bit towards the front. And I think what I like in here is the lamb's ear. That just adds some brightness to this darker, deeper tones in here. And the texture is really pretty against that. So I'll add that. There are a few little dried up leaves that I want to pinch off so it looks a little bit cleaner and tidier. So I'm going to pinch those off. And the root ball isn't too bad, but I'm going to break the little roots just slightly before I drop it down in here. And I may need to add some soil. Oh no, I think it's going to work out right there. So I'll just have to add some soil within those. Move this around slightly in a position where I like it. Scaviola. And then tweak the geranium a little bit. Okay, so I think I want this over here, which this is going to spill over. So I'll have this a little bit of trailing, the ivy a little bit of trailing, the scaviola a little bit of trailing, and then I have these two for the height in this pot. Now all I need to do is do a little bit of trimming on the geranium where the flowers are spent to help spruce it up a little bit. Okay, so I put some soil on a tray so it's a little bit easier for me to reach down and grab some soil. And I'm going to take that soil and I'm going to tuck it in around the plant to make sure that the soil height is just below the rim of the planter. So when you water it, it just doesn't overflow right away. And like I said, all of these plants in here like more sun than shade. So they're going to do great in this one little spot I have on my patio. I didn't really focus too much on this back area because I know the penta will fill in, but that area is going to be backed up to another planter and the column that's on my patio. So I didn't really need to have something that was visual all around the entire pot. All right, I think we're done. And I'm super happy with how it came together. It's a very simple planter, but I love all the color tones. I love pinks and purples together. Now for this planter, it's a shorter planter that's going to go, I'm going to put a trio of planters together. I picked up a plant that I'm not familiar with at all. My mom purchased a few and they're super cute. I don't know how well we'll do with them, but I'm going to give it a try. It's called a Louisia Cotyledon. If I didn't mutilate the name, it's an Elise mix. And it has really pretty flowers. And as I was going through the different options of pots to pick out, most of them were pinks and whites. There was a couple that had yellow or a deeper pink, but I just think the flower and the color tones inside the flower are just beautiful. Very interesting. This one here, it's more peach coral tones. And then this one here, it had some darker pinks on it, but those have faded out. I've only had them sitting in the backyard for a couple of days, but our hot weather has been rough on all the plants. This one here, it looks pretty bad, but I'm hopeful. It was the last one that had the deep pink color tone to it. So I'll groom this up. There is some good growth inside. So I'm hoping that with a little grooming and some TLC, this will rejuvenate. But the other thing on the tag, it says that it needs well-drained soil. So I thought I would take some soil, add 50% perlite, and use that to plant around the plants so that they do have some good drainage in this pot. So let's mix this up. I'm just going to pour some perlite in here. Like I said, I think I'm going to do close to a 50-50. So I'm going to mix all this up. That way the roots don't sit in really wet soil and rot, since they like good drainage. Okay, so as you can see, there are some spent blooms on there. So I will go down to the base of that stem and snip those off. This container is not going to have a mix of different plants. I just wanted one plant in here and it to fill in. So these are all going to go in this one pot. And then lastly, for the plants at least, I have this one that looks super sad. So I'm going to pull what I can. What pops off easy, I'm just going to pinch off with my fingers. And if they don't pinch off, I'll go through and groom it up a little bit with some scissors. And like I said, it's not going to look so happy in the beginning, but I'm hopeful that getting into some soil that it's a little more happy in, that it will pick up and start growing much better. It's about 1 o'clock and the sun was on the couple of the planters when I finished them up, but it quickly moved into some shade. So that'll be perfect for these little plants who just want some morning sun. This one can tolerate a little bit more sun, but it will do fine here as well. But this one, even though it's a succulent family, it likes a little bit more shade, not any of the afternoon hot sun, or it will cook it. Over here, these look really good, and these can all tolerate more sun. The ones that can take a great deal of sun are the lamb's ear and the penta, and I believe the scabiola. These that might not like a little bit more shade or do okay in a little bit more shade are placed on the side that will not get as much sun. So I'm super happy with how they turned out, and they were fun to create. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for watching.